Hello and welcome back to joY. Thank you for joining me to practice mindfulness again today. And if you haven't been with us before, or maybe you have, but you have forgotten, let's say what it means to be mindful. So one way we could describe mindfulness is to say that mindfulness is the ability to pay attention on purpose to the present moment and to all of your thoughts and feelings related to that present moment. So if we are doing this, if we are paying attention to the present moment and noticing our thoughts and feelings in that moment, noticing our thoughts and feelings towards whatever is being said or done, that creates naturally a bit of a pause. Could be a very short pause, could be a longer pause between whatever is happening and how we respond. And so one reason we practice mindfulness, or we practice this pause and this noticing of the present moment and how we think and feel, is so that maybe we will make more intentional choices about how to respond. And if we are making more intentional choices, then we hope that those choices might bring us greater solutions to whatever is happening and more joy, instead of making problems bigger or not solved at all. So you can imagine how practicing mindfulness, taking time out like this to practice mindfulness, could really help us in our everyday lives. And I hope you've been with us in the past when we have practiced a mindful pause, otherwise known as meditation, where we simply practice just getting really quiet and really still and not doing anything except breathing and noticing what we're thinking and what we're feeling, not talking about it, not moving, just noticing. Today, we're going to practice something just a little bit different. We're going to do an activity that asks us to just really notice a certain emotion or thought that we are having. So I am going to ask you right now if you could push pause in just a moment and go get yourself a piece of paper or a chalkboard or a dry erase board or just something to write on. I just have a small piece of paper right here. You don't need anything very big. It can actually be even much smaller than this. So if you could just pause and go get yourself something to write on and come back. And then when you have your something to write on, I would like you to write down probably just one word that represents a thought or a feeling you are having right now that is not comfortable. Or if you are not having a thought or a feeling right now that's uncomfortable, think back, probably for most of us, we won't have to think back that far, to a time recently when you did have a thought or a feeling that just didn't feel great to you. So I'm going to write one down right now, and my feeling or thought, sometimes I'm not sure which is it a thought or is it a feeling, is anxiety. So another word for that might be worry. So you might be writing down a word like that. You might write down sadness. That often feels uncomfortable. You might write down anger, frustration, jealousy, resentment. There's lots of thoughts and feelings we have that are not very comfortable for us. It's okay to have them. It's even okay to be uncomfortable. But we just want to notice that we have these thoughts and feelings. And then after you write that word down, I want you to just spend a little bit of time thinking about or feeling about how that word, how that thought or feeling feels in your body. So when you feel or you think this word that you wrote down on your paper that's uncomfortable, what does that feel like in your body? Unless you don't know. If you don't know, that's okay too. So I'm going to write down two words. When I feel anxiety, which by the way, I'm not feeling right now, but I do often, and I did maybe even this morning, I wrote down fluttery stomach. So I notice that when I'm feeling worried or anxious about something, I get a fluttery stomach. So you're going to write down whatever you might notice about how your body feels in these times when you're thinking or feeling things that are uncomfortable. So maybe if you wrote down, for example, the word anger, you might say hot face or beating heart. Those are often some ways that our body feels when we feel angry. And if you're not sure, again, if you don't really know how your body feels during these uncomfortable times, that's okay. You don't have to write anything down right now. See if next time one of those feelings or thoughts come in, you will notice how your body feels. Remember this activity and that you weren't sure about your body, and start to pay attention to it. How does your body feel? And you could even make a list here. It doesn't have to just be 1 or 2 words. So I just wrote down, things are flying around, fluttery stomach. If you have more than that, write more than that down. This activity is really just trying to help us be more mindful, be more aware of how we react or respond in our bodies to uncomfortable feelings or thoughts. And then the last thing I want you to do on your piece of paper is to just simply write down a few words that tell what is the situation that might happen to cause you to feel or to think this way, and to cause your body to respond. So for me, for my example, if I feel anxiety and I get a fluttery stomach, what is it that caused that? There are actually probably, for most of us, more than one thing that causes this thought or feeling. Write down something that causes you to feel the way that you put down on your paper. So I am writing people or animals suffering. So when I know about people or animals who I think are suffering, I feel anxiety and I get a fluttery stomach. You're going to write down what you think it is that happens that causes you to feel this uncomfortable thought or emotion, and causes you to feel certain things in your body. And for me, as probably for you, more than just one thing can cause me to feel this way. What came to mind first, or maybe what happened most recently, was that I knew about people or animals that were suffering, and that created my anxiety. So look back at the thought or the feeling you wrote on your paper, and what happened in your body, and then add to that, what is it that created those things for you? What was the event that happened, or what was the thing that was said, or both of those? And that's really all right now that we're going to do with this. We are just trying to notice. We are trying to become aware of the things that happen in our lives, the present moments in our lives that create certain uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, and also trying to notice, what does that feel like in our body? And so maybe the next time you have an uncomfortable moment that creates some thought or feeling you don't really want to hold on to or have for very long, you can just stop and notice, what is it that is creating this? How does it feel in my body? And just spend some time noticing that before you say or do anything. Because often that little pause we create where we just notice what's happening can help us to, first of all, start to calm down a little bit or feel a little less uncomfortable, and then start to make some better choices about how to respond. And it's a practice, so we have to do this many times. We can't just do it once or twice. And also sometimes we can practice it, and then for a while we'll be doing great. We'll be really mindful and noticing how we think and feel about things and responding in ways that create more joy and better solutions. And then other days it just won't go well at all. And that's okay. We're not ever looking to be perfect at this or to master it. That would be amazing if we could get to that, but that's not maybe the most realistic goal. What we want to do is have more and more times when we respond in really intentional ways to things that are uncomfortable. And we also want to get to know ourselves. We want to get to know, what is it that makes us uncomfortable? What are the uncomfortable thoughts and feelings we have? How do they feel? And how could we maybe pause in an effort to make more intentional choices about those thoughts and feelings? Thank you for practicing mindfulness with me today.